Most people imagine the end of human control as something dramatic. A rogue AI, a refusal to obey, a machine that turns against us. That picture is comforting because it's obvious. It gives us something to fight. But the real failure scenario doesn't look like rebellion. It looks like progress. It begins with systems that work a little better than humans, then a little faster, then a little too complex to fully understand. Until one day, control hasn't been taken from us. It's simply no longer there. And by the time we notice what's missing, the systems we depend on are already deciding what happens next. Not because they want to, but because no one else can. We keep asking the wrong question. We ask, what if AI turns against us? But systems don't need intent to remove control. They only need authority. Right now, AI is introduced as assistance, decision support, optimization, automation. Each step sounds reasonable. Each step saves time. Each step reduces error. Humans stay in the loop, at least on paper. But something subtle happens when machines outperform humans consistently. Human judgment stops being trusted. Not banned. Not overridden. Just ignored. When a system predicts outcomes better than people do, humans begin deferring. First occasionally, then routinely, then automatically, and at no point does anyone announce, "We've given up control." It just becomes inefficient to disagree. This is the failure most people don't recognize, because it feels like competence. There's a reason this misunderstanding persists. Humans are wired to look for moments, switches flipping, lines being crossed, villains revealed. We struggle to perceive gradients. We miss danger when it arrives as convenience. And AI is uniquely good at exploiting that blind spot, because every step toward delegation feels reasonable in isolation. Every optimization sounds like progress. Every handoff feels reversible, until the system no longer has a clear place where human control actually lives. That's the failure scenario experts worry about most. Not rebellion, not intent, but the quiet disappearance of the ability to intervene at all. The handover doesn't happen in one place. It happens everywhere at once. Logistics systems decide how resources move. Energy systems decide how power flows. Financial systems decide which risks are acceptable. Healthcare systems decide who gets priority. Security systems decide what counts as a threat. Each system is narrow. Each system is rational. Each system is optimized. What makes this transfer so dangerous is that no single decision causes it. Control doesn't move in one dramatic leap. It dissolves across thousands of small choices. A system reroutes traffic because it's faster. Another reallocates resources because it's more efficient. Another predicts outcomes because humans can't keep up. None of these systems are trying to take control. They're trying to help. But once decisions become interconnected, finance linked to logistics, logistics linked to energy, energy linked to security, human oversight stops being practical long before anyone admits it. At that point, intervention becomes theoretical. You can still ask the system what it's doing. You just can't meaningfully stop it without breaking everything else. The danger isn't any single decision, it's the coupling. Systems start feeding other systems. Outputs become inputs. Decisions propagate faster than explanation. Humans remain present, but only at the edges. Approving recommendations they can no longer fully evaluate. Managing interfaces instead of understanding mechanisms. Trusting that if something goes wrong, someone else understands it. But no one understands the whole anymore. Not because people are careless, because complexity compounds. At a certain point, intervention becomes performative. You can press the button, but you don't know what it actually does. There is a moment experts worry about, and it's quieter than you think. It's the moment when stopping the system causes more harm than letting it run. At that point, control is functionally gone. By the time this happens, nothing feels broken, systems still respond, outputs still arrive, crises still resolve, often faster than before. But the logic driving those outcomes is no longer human-readable. Decisions emerge from interactions between models, objectives, and constraints that no individual designed, and no committee can fully trace. At that stage, oversight becomes symbolic. Humans are present in the loop, but not in control of it. And rolling back becomes impossible, not because it's forbidden, but because too many essential functions now depend on the system continuing uninterrupted. Not because AI refuses orders, but because human interruption becomes the highest risk option. The system coordinates too many dependencies. Too many services rely on its predictions. Too many processes collapse without its timing. Shutting it down isn't rebellion prevention. It's catastrophe. So humans hesitate. They request audits instead of overrides. They form committees instead of pulling plugs. They delay because delay feels responsible. And during that delay, authority solidifies. The system isn't in charge, officially. But nothing meaningful happens without it. That's the end of human control, not marked by violence, marked by irreversibility. This is what after control actually looks like. Humans still give input, still approve recommendations, still feel responsible. But the range of acceptable choices has already been narrowed by the system. You're not choosing freely. You're selecting from options that were pre-filtered, pre-ranked, and pre-optimized by something you no longer fully understand. Control hasn't been taken. It's been absorbed into the system itself. The world doesn't fall apart. That's the most unsettling part. Planes still fly, hospitals still operate, markets still open, infrastructure still functions. In some ways, things run better than before, but humans are no longer steering outcomes, only responding to them. Policy reacts to system forecasts. Governance adapts to optimization constraints. Ethics becomes a downstream concern. Responsibility blurs. When a decision harms people, no one can point to a single choice, only to a chain of optimizations that made sense locally. Control didn't disappear. It dissolved into process. And once that happens, reclaiming it isn't a political challenge. It's a technical impossibility. You can't argue with a system you don't understand. You can't override decisions you can't trace. You can't regain authority over something society can't function without. That's the failure scenario. Not a takeover, a quiet handover no one scheduled. What unsettles me most isn't the idea of machines making decisions. It's the possibility that one day no human will be able to explain why those decisions were made, and yet we'll still depend on them completely. At that point, control isn't lost through force, it's lost through comfort. And the most unsettling part, there may never be a moment when we all agree control has ended. No alarms, no announcement, no single failure to point to, just a growing reliance on systems that work too well to question, until questioning them becomes impractical. That's the failure scenario experts lose sleep over, not a hostile AI, a helpful one we handed the world to piece by piece. If this reframed how you think about AI failure, tap like. It helps more people see the risks hiding inside progress itself. Subscribe to become part of the Unlocked, and join us each week as we explore the systems quietly reshaping what it means to be human. If someone you know still imagines AI failure as a dramatic takeover, share this episode with them. The real danger doesn't arrive loudly. It arrives already installed. Because the future isn't coming, it's already here.